Chapter 2. Beneath the Stones Part 2. Chaos in the Curios. The air in Grimlock's shop crackled with tension and residual magic from the Veiled Hand member's dramatic entrance. Dust and debris settled around us as I tried to process the rapidly deteriorating situation. Now. Grimlock's gravelly voice broke the silence, his tone surprisingly calm for someone whose shop had just been partially demolished. Let's not be hasty. I run a respectable establishment here. If you're looking to make a purchase, you'll have to wait your turn like everyone else. The shadowy figure took a step forward, and I could feel the malevolent energy radiating off them in waves. Do not test us, dwarf. We know you have the key. Give it to us now, and we might let you live. I glanced at Grimlock, trying to gauge his reaction. The dwarf's face was an impassive mask, but I caught a flicker of something in his eyes, fear, calculation. It was hard to tell. I'm afraid I don't know what you're talking about, Grimlock said, spreading his gnarled hands wide. I deal in many curiosities, but I assure you, I have no key of the sort you're seeking. The Veiled Hand member's eyes flared brighter, and I could feel the temperature in the room drop several degrees. You lie. I decided it was time to make my presence known. Now hold on a minute, I said, stepping between Grimlock and the intruder. I don't know what's going on here, but surely we can discuss this like civilized beings. No need for violence in a shop full of unstable magical artifacts. The hooded figure's gaze snapped to me, and I felt a chill run down my spine. Who are you? They hissed. Another protector of the key? I raised my hands in a placating gesture. Name's Corvus Blackthorn. I'm just a private investigator looking into a case. No protector, no threat. But I am interested in this key you're talking about. Maybe we could help each other out. For a moment, I thought my bluff might work. The shadowy figure seemed to hesitate, their glowing eyes flickering between me and Grimlock. Then everything went to hell. A blinding flash of light erupted from somewhere behind me, accompanied by a thunderous boom that shook the entire shop. I was thrown off my feet, crashing into a display of what looked like shrunken heads. At least I hoped they were fake. As I struggled to regain my bearings, I saw that a new player had entered the fray. Standing in what used to be the shop's front entrance was a figure clad in gleaming golden armor, a blazing sword held aloft in one hand. In the name of the eternal flame, the newcomer's voice boomed, I command you to stand down. The key must be destroyed for the good of all Quandaria. Great, I thought, my ears still ringing from the explosion. Just what we needed. A guardian with a hero complex. The Veiled Hand member snarled, shadows coalescing around their form like a living shroud. The key belongs to us. Its power will reshape this miserable world. As the two factions faced off, magical energy crackling between them, I scrambled to my feet and made my way back to Grimlock's counter. The dwarf had ducked behind it, and I could hear him muttering what sounded like a string of colorful curses in Dwarven. Grimlock, I hissed, keeping low. I don't suppose you have a back way out of here. The dwarf's eyes met mine, and a sly grin spread across his face. Oh, I've got something better than that, lad. Before I could ask what he meant, Grimlock reached under the counter and pulled out what looked like an ordinary snow globe. But as he shook it, I felt a surge of magical energy that made my teeth ache. You might want to hold on to something, Grimlock advised, his grin widening. I barely had time to grab the edge of the counter before Grimlock smashed the snow globe against the floor. The world around us lurched sickeningly, colors blending and stretching like melted wax. I heard shouts of surprise and anger from the Veiled Hand member and the Guardian, but their voices seemed to come from very far away. For a moment that felt like an eternity, reality itself seemed to bend and twist. Then, with a sudden snap, everything righted itself. I found myself sprawled on a cold stone floor, my head spinning. As I pushed myself up, I realized we were no longer in Grimlock's shop. Instead, we appeared to be in some kind of underground chamber, lit by softly glowing fungi that clung to the damp walls. Grimlock stood a few feet away, brushing dust off his beard, as if nothing out of the ordinary had happened. Teleportation globe, he explained, noticing my bewildered expression. Never leave home without one. You never know when you might need a quick exit. I staggered to my feet, fighting down a wave of nausea. Where are we? Oh, just a little bolt hole I keep for emergencies, Grimlock said, waving a hand dismissively. We should be safe here for now. As my head cleared, the events of the past few minutes caught up with me. I fixed Grimlock with a hard stare. All right, I think it's time you came clean. What's really going on here? Do you have this key everyone's after? Grimlock's jovial demeanor faded, replaced by a look of weariness that made him seem even older than before. He sighed heavily, reaching into his beard and pulling out a small object. Aye, lad, I have it, or at least part of it. He held out his hand, revealing what looked like an ordinary puzzle piece made of some dark, gleaming metal. But as I looked closer, I could see strange symbols etched into its surface, glowing faintly with an inner light. This, Grimlock said solemnly, is a fragment of the key of eternity, and if what I've learned is true, it might just be the most dangerous object in all of Quandaria. I stared at the innocuous-looking puzzle piece, my mind reeling with questions. But before I could voice any of them, a low rumble shook the chamber, sending small stones skittering across the floor. Grimlock's eyes widened in alarm. Impossible, he muttered. They couldn't have tracked us here, unless... His gaze snapped to me, or more specifically, to the amulet hanging around my neck. Where did you get that? He demanded. I touched the amulet, feeling its magic pulse against my fingers. It was given to me by my client. She said it would offer protection against magical detection. Grimlock let out a bark of humorless laughter. Protection? Lad, that thing's been leading them right to us. It's not a shield, it's a beacon. As if to punctuate his words, another tremor shook the chamber, stronger this time. Dust and small rocks rained down from the ceiling. We need to move, Grimlock said urgently, pocketing the key fragment. And you need to get rid of that amulet. Now. I yanked the amulet off, feeling a strange sense of loss as its magic faded, but there was no time to dwell on it. Already, I could hear the sound of approaching footsteps and angry voices. Come on, Grimlock said, moving towards a barely visible crack in the far wall. I know these tunnels like the back of my hand. If we're lucky, we might just make it out of here alive.